Welcome back to Kingston Reviews. Derek here. Thank you guys for joining me again. Today's video is going to be about the repair of my air conditioning unit. The fan motor on my condenser outside went out, and I was able to replace that, and I recorded it so that you guys can have some of that information that I hope is helpful to you. If you guys like content like this, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Before we go ahead and get into the video, I want to let you guys know that this is a little bit more complicated of a project. We're going to be dealing with fairly high voltage from the house, and then we're also going to be dealing with a high voltage capacitor that is used for the fan motor and the compressor. And I want to make sure that you guys know this is fairly dangerous. So if you're not familiar with this type of work, I definitely would not say this is a beginner's project, but if you've done something similar to this in the past, this may be something that's helpful to you guys. So please make sure, first things first, that you turn off the power to the system, and just remember that that capacitor can hold a charge even if there is no power going to the system. That's part of the job that capacitor does. So before we get into it, I just wanted to warn you guys about that. But thank you guys for tuning in, and let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, guys, so we're at the side of my house right now. This is the actual unit where the fan motor is not working. This thing was making the worst noise at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Now that we're taking a look at it, I'm going to have to remove all the bolts and kind of remove that motor. Before I do any of that, I'm going to advise you guys, cut the power off. That's my main right there. I went ahead and made sure I cut the power off to the unit. You don't want to work on this thing unless you have turned the power off. I've actually replaced the motor on the unit next to it here that you're looking at. I replaced that motor maybe 5 years ago. And so now I'm going to have to replace this motor. I've actually had this house since 2006. So the fact that I've only had to replace one motor and a few other repairs means that we're doing pretty good so far. So I'm pretty happy with that. The reason why I'm pretty sure it's the motor is they make a weird noise whenever they're not working. One of the first things we're going to do before we start repairing it is let's take a look at the wiring. We're going to follow that wiring that goes from the motor, and we're going to follow it into the electrical box right here and see where everything goes. Once we do that, we definitely want to take a picture of that electrical box. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. We're going to follow the wiring right there, and we're going to follow that into the box. Once we follow where all those wires are going, we want to take a picture of everything we see here so that we know where everything goes. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what we have going on here, just so that you have an idea of what we're looking at. The silver item on the right is the capacitor. The capacitor is what gives the motor and the compressor an extra kick to be able to get them started. That thing packs a pretty big charge to it. It's kind of like a battery in a lot of ways, but it's going to kick out a large amount of voltage over a short period of time instead of over a long period of time. To the top here, we're going to be looking at the motor. This fan motor is what actually blows the air and evacuates the air, which takes the heat out of the condenser, and that is the compressor that actually compresses the Freon and allows it to cool again when it goes back through the house. So those are the basic components that we're working with today. Once again, I'm going to remind you guys, if you're not super familiar with doing any repairs like this, please either get some help or don't even attempt it, because we're dealing with quite a bit of voltage coming from the house and then coming from that capacitor. If you were to touch the ends of those capacitors, you're going to discharge quite a bit of voltage, which could definitely either hurt you or definitely scar you for life. You don't want to do that. Make sure you turn off your power. The next thing we're going to do is basically I'm going to go ahead and take this thing apart. So I'm going to stop it right here real quick and show you that I've kind of disassembled the motor from the unit. Okay. All right, guys. So I was able to remove the motor and its mount from the condenser itself. Mine only had 4 screws or bolts in the corner of the unit, which I went ahead and removed. Yours may be a little different from mine. Another thing that I wanted you to know here was I took a picture of where all the wires were that came from the motor that I followed to the motor, and I disconnected those. The next thing I'm going to do is take this thing into the garage, and then I'm going to get the information I need off the motor, disconnect the fan blade from the motor, and take this thing to Grainger to get what I need. I typically go to Grainger first, and then if they don't have it, kind of take it from there. So let's go ahead and go into the garage.
I went ahead and brought it up from the side of the house up here to my garage, just so I can work on the actual fan a little bit better. If that noise wasn't so loud, I might have thought about putting a little oil on here, but that's not going to do a thing. I'm pretty sure the bearing is shot in here. So I wanted to show you guys what you're going to need. I could probably just get this information and take it to the shop, and that's all they would need to be able to find the motor that matches this. There we go. But that information there on the side, that's what I'm going to need. The horsepower, voltage, amp, that's information that they're going to need to be able to find the part that I want. But now I've got to get it off of this frame. Also, I got to get that fan blade off of there. So I'm going to pause the video and show you guys how that went. But so far so good. It came off very easily. I think anybody could handle taking care of what I've done so far. And like I said, this kind of a repair all day long, it's going to save you, I'd say, you know, $500 or better, if they would even be willing to fix it. A lot of times, if you don't know anything about this type of stuff, I'm not saying that all repairmen are that way, but some will not even tell you and will say you need a new condenser or new evaporator. So anyways, let me go ahead and get this thing on the stand and show you how to take the fan blade off. Alright, so there's a little bolt on here. Yours may or may not have that on your fan, but mine does have that. Both of mine had that. Normally, I wish I had some WD-40, but I'm going to be using this penetrating oil to kind of loosen this thing up so that it can come off easily. Just going to spray that in there. You know, part of the reason why I even started this channel was sometimes I can't find content like this that helps me easily repair something. Like I said, I'm a big fan of saving money, and I'm sure like some of you guys are, and I'm somewhat handy, not super handy, but somewhat handy, and thought this stuff would be useful. If you find this stuff useful, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like that. Really appreciate it, guys, and thank you for watching so far. So, like I said, I like to let that sit there for a little while, and then we'll take it from there. Look at that. Easy enough, it just came right off. Alright, now that I got this off, guys, and I'll fast forwarded some of that for you, so not to bore you to death. Every one of yours might be installed slightly different, but this is how mine was installed. Once I got that off of there, all I got to do now is I'll take this motor directly to Grainger. That's a big one. Just check your local listings. I'm sure you'll find companies that they sell a part like this, but I'm pretty sure, like I said, that my bearings or something is off in there. Like when you turn this, it should turn freely, and this thing is super hard to turn. It's also a little bit of play in there. I'm going to try to save as much of the wiring as I can. Did not do that the last time, so I'm not getting rid of any of this. I'll start the video back up after I have the part, guys. Alright? I'll let you know where I got it and all that. Thanks. Alright guys, I just got back. I want to give a big shout out to a couple companies. General Motor in Greensboro, North Carolina. This is a company that does motor repairs and sells replacement motors. I was really impressed by the service I got out there. But they were referred to me by Grainger. I went out there to get the part and they did not have the exact part at Grainger. So once again, what I was doing was trying to get a part to match. And what I ended up with is this. My motor is 1/5. This is a 1/4. RPMs match up 825. The volts 208 to 230. My amps do not match up. My current amp is 0.95 or 1. This is 1.3 to 1.4. So we're looking at about a half an amp more draw. I don't think my circuit breaker is going to have a problem with that. Everything else matches up, with the exception I'm going to have to put a different capacitor. So the capacitor that I have right now is 7.5. This one is going to be a 5. The other number 55 is for the compressor. And once again, what the capacitor essentially does is it gives the unit a bump. Whenever it's starting, it gives that fan motor and compressor a little extra voltage, a little extra kick. Look at it as almost like a battery that just kind of gives it a little extra kick whenever it's starting. And so I'm going to change the capacitor on this thing as well. So I'll include that in the video. But let's go ahead and get this thing installed onto my frame. I did one more thing. I did have to have the tip, the shaft cut. The shaft was about 6 or 7 inches, and I went ahead and had it cut down to about 3 inches. The previous shaft was only about 1.5 inches. I don't think this will create any problems for me. It's just the, not the length of the shaft, right? It's the, you know how that goes. All right, let's go ahead and go inside. All right, so here I am back to the frame. Before I set the camera up, I just wanted you guys to see a little closer. So while I was at the repair shop, he did tell me some details. Essentially, the wiring is a little different on here. This has got, the old one's got a brown, yellow, and a black. Okay, this one's got a white, a black, a brown and white, and a brown. The white is going to be in the place of the yellow. The black is in the place of the black. The brown is in the place of the brown. I do not need the brown and white one. That one can be cut and taken off. This has the ability to change the direction of the rotation, which is really important. I've got to try to make sure I remember which way it was set to rotate. All I have to do if I want to change the rotation is alternate these 2 items here. Just change the yellow and the purple. Like I said, if you guys have questions when you're at the shop, most of them are more than happy to help you. On the back of this thing, it's called the frame, and the measurement of that, you want to make sure that does match up with your previous frame so that you can actually install it. This one was a 48Y, and so is this one, so we know the frames match up. Okay, so once again, don't forget that part. If you guys like stuff like this, once again, I'll remind you, it's really hard to find someone that's willing to walk through all this online. Hope this was helpful to you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. So let me go ahead and get this installed, and I'll show you guys that here in a second.
Okay guys, so we're heading back down to where the units are. I decided to do this again as a voiceover because it's just so loud with the other unit running that I wanted to make this easier for you guys to hear. So what I did was I went ahead and spliced the wires I needed to splice. roughed in everything, put everything through on the unit, but did not connect anything just yet. I just wanted to get the fan in there and sitting in there. And before I got going, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this capacitor. So the capacitor is kind of like a battery, except it discharges a high amount of voltage over a short period of time instead of a battery discharging a small amount of voltage over a long period of time. You're going to find 3 different connections under there. The C stands for the common. You're going to have the fan, and then you're going to have Herm, which stands for the hermetic compressor, and that's what those 3 different things are. Once again, I advise you strongly to take a picture of this before you disconnect any of the wires and reconnect them. If you were to touch a couple of these terminals at the same time, it is going to discharge a high amount of voltage to you guys. So make sure you have the power cut off. But even with the power cut off, this does pack a charge with the power completely off. That's its job, is to hold a high charge for the start of the compressor and the fan. But I kind of wanted to go over that with you guys briefly because this is where I felt like the most dangerous component was. I did have to change the capacitor because the previous capacitor was, I think, 7.5. This one was a 5. It actually has another part for the compressor, which is 55. And I went ahead and changed that capacitor. Like I said, your situation might be slightly different. If you guys have any questions or comments, if I can help, go ahead and put that below and I'll be happy to help you guys with it. But that is one of the most important components. It will not start properly without that. So once I did that, I went ahead and put all the wires together, connected them back to where they were before, even though the wiring was slightly different because the colors were different, but the connections were the same. The only thing I'm concerned about here at this particular point is I'm not sure what direction that this fan is going to rotate. So those 2 wires may have to be alternated to change the direction that fan motor is going to go.
Turn these back on. There she blows. I think it's going the wrong direction, guys. I'm not positive, but let's turn it off and see what direction that fan blade is going. It should be going that way, and I do believe it's going the wrong direction. I'm going to double check, and then I'm going to switch these wires right here if it is going the wrong direction. I'll come right back. Alright, so I got it rotating the right way, I believe. I'm going to do some verification, but I switched the directions around, so now you see the yellow goes with the purple goes with the yellow, and it rotates the other way around. Unit's working, it started right up, no problems at all. Feel lots of heat coming off of here, so I think we fixed it.
Thank you guys for staying to the end of the video. This was my AC repair video. I actually ended up spending $180, and I wanted to say thank you to General Motor Repair in Greensboro, North Carolina. That was actually really helpful to me. They gave me some good advice on what I needed to do with the motor. Actually made sure that I had the right capacitor to go back with. This gives me the opportunity to remind you guys, please don't forget to turn the power off when you're working on the unit. Don't forget that that capacitor can pack a really powerful punch. Even if there's no power connected, it's still holding a charge. So be really careful with that. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please put those in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like content like this. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great day.